I never truly understood how precious time was until I reached my 70s. Now at 82, each sunrise feels like a gift, something I perhaps took for granted in my younger years. Every year after 70 has felt like a bonus round in life, a chance to create one more memory or share another laugh. Life slows down in some ways, but those moments become even more meaningful because you know just how priceless they are. With fewer years ahead than behind, you start cherishing every little thing, a warm cup of tea, a phone call from family, or a morning breeze on your face. I never imagined spending these precious years in a nursing home. Yet here I am, and I've learned that living in a place like this can quietly wear you down in ways you might never expect. It's not the obvious things like illness or the food that get to you, it's the subtle, everyday heartaches that slowly chip away at your spirit. Even in a well-run nursing home with kind staff, a person's spirit can start to fade little by little. Today, I want to share 7 simple ways this can happen. The kind of things that can quietly break your spirit when you're in a nursing home, told through my own experiences and those of my friends here. 1. Losing independence. One of the first things I noticed after moving in was how my independence slipped away. I remember oversleeping on my 3rd day here, something I used to enjoy on a lazy Sunday. By the time I woke up, breakfast was long over and the dining hall was closed. I felt a bit embarrassed asking for something to eat like a school kid who missed the bell. That was the moment it sank in. I couldn't just live by my own schedule anymore. Little freedoms I took for granted were suddenly gone. I can't choose when to have a cup of tea or go for a walk. Everything runs on the facility's timetable. If I want to go outside for fresh air, I often need to wait for a staff member to be available to help or to unlock a door. Losing those small choices day after day made me feel powerless. It quietly chipped away at my confidence and sense of self, leaving me feeling like a piece of me was lost. 2. Loneliness. Even though I'm surrounded by people here, it's very easy to feel alone. My friend Tom lives in the room down the hall. He doesn't have family nearby, and I often see him sitting by the window every afternoon, watching cars come and go in the parking lot. One day, Tom admitted to me that he was hoping his son might surprise him with a visit. That visit never came, and Tom gave me a weak smile and said, "Maybe tomorrow." It broke my heart. Loneliness is a quiet companion for many of us. Sure, we have fellow residents and the staff chats with us while doing their tasks, but it's not the same as having your loved ones around. The conversations here rarely dive into the deep, personal things we truly care about. At night, when everything is still, that feeling of being forgotten can hit hard. Being lonely like that, day in and day out, makes your spirit feel like it's fading, like you're slowly becoming invisible. 3. Loss of dignity. My neighbor Nancy is a proud, elegant woman in her late 70s who always took pride in dressing herself and keeping her affairs private. When she first moved in, Nancy needed help with bathing and getting dressed because of her arthritis. I remember one morning she came out of her bathroom with tears in her eyes. A young aide had just helped her shower and Nancy whispered to me, "I can't even bathe myself anymore," with a tremble in her voice. The shame and embarrassment on her face were heart-wrenching. Needing help with such personal tasks can really chip away at your dignity. I felt it myself, like the time I had to call a nurse to help me change my clothes after an accident. The staff here are kind and professional, but it's still humiliating to lose that privacy and independence in taking care of your own body. You feel exposed and vulnerable as if you've regressed to childhood. Over time, that loss of dignity can make you withdraw. You speak up less and meet people's eyes less often because you just don't feel like the same capable person you once were. 4. Monotony of routine. Every day here follows a nearly identical routine. We wake up at the same time, eat at the same times, and even our activities are scheduled like clockwork. Mondays it's group exercise at 10, Tuesdays a sing-along, Wednesdays bingo in the afternoon. Week after week, the pattern barely changes. My friend Jim likes to joke that living here feels like the movie Groundhog Day, where you relive the same day over and over. We laugh, but there's an uneasy truth in that joke. The monotony can numb you after a while. When each day looks just like the last, you stop looking forward to tomorrow, because tomorrow is just more of the same. Back when I lived in my own home, I could decide on a whim to bake cookies or take a walk to the park. Those little spur-of-the-moment decisions brought spice to life. Here, spontaneity is almost non-existent, and when life loses variety, it's easy to lose a bit of your spark. You start to feel like you're just passing time, not really living, and that feeling quietly wears you down. 5. Being treated like a child. Another thing that quietly breaks your spirit is being treated like a child. Sometimes it's the tone people use, a bit condescending, overly cutesy, like calling us sweetie or honey, and other times it's how our opinions get brushed aside. I remember one afternoon my friend Frank didn't want to join the scheduled karaoke night. He just wasn't in the mood, and a staff member scolded him, saying, "Come on now, you need to participate with everyone." Frank's face fell. Here was an 85-year-old man who had led a full, independent life, being talked to as if he were a naughty schoolboy. It's painful and frustrating to feel patronized when you've lived a long life and earned your wisdom. When people constantly correct you, speak down to you, or decide things for you for your own good, you start to doubt your own voice. I've caught myself staying quiet about what I want, just to avoid being lectured or dismissed. Being treated like a child, even kindly, sends a message that you're less capable or less important. Over time, that really erodes your self-esteem and pride, and it's another subtle way your spirit gets diminished. 6. Grief and loss. In a nursing home, you come to know grief too well. In the past year alone, I've said goodbye to 2 friends in this very hall. One day we're chatting over dinner or watching a TV show together, and a week later their chair is empty because they've passed away. I still glance at my friend Maria's usual spot in the dining room, remembering how we used to share stories about our grandchildren. She passed away quietly one night. A few months later, another dear friend, George, who loved to serenade us with jazz songs on Friday nights, also left us. Each loss hit me hard, like losing a little piece of family. And it's not only the other residents, caregivers and staff we grow close to often move on to other jobs. I once grew very fond of a nurse named Emily who had a special way of brightening my day. When she told me it was her last day, she had taken a position elsewhere, I was happy for her, but I felt that loss deeply. All these goodbyes, one after another, take a toll and remind you constantly of how fragile life is. You start to guard your heart a bit, but also feel more alone each time someone you care about is gone. The constant cycle of grief here can weigh down even the strongest spirit. 7. Loss of purpose. Perhaps one of the most insidious spirit breakers is the feeling of losing your purpose. Back home, I had daily duties and hobbies that made me feel useful. I cooked meals, tended my garden, fixed things around the house, and helped my neighbors. Here, most of those roles just vanished. Meals are prepared for us, the gardens are tended by landscapers, and there's not much I can contribute. I wake up some mornings and struggle with the question, what am I going to do today that matters to anyone? My neighbor Alice, who was a schoolteacher for 40 years, told me she feels the same way. To cope, she started a little ritual of folding the dining hall napkins every morning, just to have a small job to do. As for me, I write letters to my grandson and give the other residents a smile or a listening ear whenever I can. Those things give me a bit of purpose. But many days I still feel adrift. When you don't feel needed by anyone, it's easy to fall into thinking you're just a burden or that your life has less meaning. That sense of purposelessness slowly saps your motivation and joy. You begin to wonder why you're even here, and that question can darken your spirit more than anything else. These are 7 ways I've found that a nursing home can quietly break your spirit. They're not grand dramatic events, but little everyday struggles that many people don't see from the outside. I share them not to despair, but to shine a light on what many of us here experience emotionally. A nursing home provides safety and care, yes, but it's also important to recognize the emotional needs of the people living in them. By understanding these challenges, we can find ways to support each other and keep our spirits alive. For those of us on the inside, we learn to seek out small joys to keep us going, a heartfelt conversation, a good book, a sunny day sitting in the garden. I still have moments of laughter and connection that remind me life can be beautiful, even now. It's about holding on to those moments and remembering who you are beyond the nursing home walls. Thank you for listening to my story. If any of these experiences resonated with you, I invite you to share your own thoughts or stories in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, whether you're also living in a nursing home, have a loved one in one, or just want to share your perspective. If you found this video meaningful, please give it a like, and consider subscribing to this channel for more stories and discussions. And feel free to share this video with anyone who might find it helpful. Take care of yourself, and remember, even in a place like this, a small spark of hope can keep your spirit alive. Keep that spark going. If you like this story, please like and share it with your loved ones. Thank you.